Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here on You Be the Judge, and I'm with Todd and Pat Mulloy. Pat, I want to pick up where Todd left off, and that is talking about the impact of this relationship between China and the workforce here in the United States. Yes. How does that work itself out?
Here's what. Jobs that used to be here, making goods by Americans for Americans, are now in China. And the Chinese are making goods for Americans and shipping them here. And it's not the Chinese per se. 60% of China's exports are from foreign invested companies. So when they got into the WTO and got guaranteed that they were going to have that very, very low tariff, 2.5% average tariff coming into this country, that led a lot of companies then to move their manufacturing facilities to China and ship the stuff back here. Since China joined the WTO, we've had $2 trillion worth of trade deficits with China. Last year, we had about a $270 billion trade deficit. And these are about 80 billion of that was in advanced technology products. So these aren't low tech items that were, the Chinese have a game plan to move up the food chain on what they're making.
Explain to our audience a little bit about how a trade deficit works.
Okay.
We send things there,
yeah.
They send things here, but
yeah,
they send more things here than
exactly.
we send there.
Yeah. Last year, they probably sent us $350 billion worth of goods. We send them dollars, right? And we sent them about 70 billion. So then that gives you a big trade deficit, right? So the dollars that we send them, they have those dollars now. And they have to keep those dollars off the market because otherwise the dollar would fall in value. That's what they underprice their currency. That helps them get a trade advantage. It makes their goods cheaper coming here. It makes our exports there more expensive. But the key thing in my view is it incentivizes our companies to move manufacturing there and ship back here.
If I'm making computers,
yeah,
German, Pennsylvania,
yeah,
and I have to compete against a company in
China, yeah.
Tell me about what advantages the Chinese company have over the company here and why that company has such a hard time competing with the Chinese.
Yes. By underpricing the currency, and people think it's 40 or 50% undervalued, what it means is that the good coming from China is much cheaper than it would be if they weren't underpricing their currency. That underpricing their currency is contrary to their WTO obligations, so it's illegal what they're up to, contrary to their IMF obligation, International Monetary. So these are things that they shouldn't be doing. They do it. We let them get away with it. What else it does, if it makes you to ship a computer to China, almost prohibitive because it's so expensive for the Chinese to buy a computer from here. But the other thing it does is that your company, the companies here that have been competing with your guy have an incentive, just move the operation to China and ship back here and they're going to wipe your guy out. And that's what's happening across the board in so many American industries. You know, GM is making more cars now in China than they're making here. I mean, that's an amazing thing that people don't understand what's going on here.
Particularly when you think that our government just bailed GM out to produce jobs in the States.
Yes. Well, I don't disagree with what they did to try to save General Motors, because we have to keep some manufacturing jobs in this country. But what we have to do is have a better strategy on how we're doing that, because the Chinese have a clear vision and strategy to move those jobs from here to there.
Pat, but it seems, go ahead. It seems that when we give GM the money, and I was thrilled to see that happen, there should have been a string there that you have to keep so many jobs here in the States.
Here's what we ought to be doing. People say, well, cut the corporate tax rate. I think you should, but you have to say, we'll give you lower taxes if you keep production in the United States. Not just lower taxes across the board. If GE wants lower taxes, they don't take advantage of outsourcing everything to China and shipping back here. If they keep production in the United States, they get the lower taxes. If they don't, they have higher taxes on that part of their operation. That's what we ought to be doing. We have to rethink how we're engaged in this business, because we've thrown our people into this globalized economy. You know, I told you we had $2 trillion worth of trade deficits with China. We probably had about $5 trillion worth of trade deficits altogether over the last 10 years. This is just hemorrhaging the job base and the technology base of this country. People say, well, we're going to be the innovative economy. We're going to be the innovators. We had Harvard Business School professors come and testify. They said the outsourcing has already so weakened our industrial and technological base that our ability to innovate new stuff is being harmed in this country. So we're not going to be the innovators. China's going to be the innovator.
So, Pat, you have conducted hearings and committee hearings with industry and with the scholars?
Yes. Well, here's the way we do it. We're a bipartisan commission, Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate. So we get the facts. We're like Joe Friday in the old Dragnet series. When you get the facts, it's so clear what is happening. And how do we get the facts? We do hearings, most of them in Washington, in the Senate. We use the Senate hearing rooms. But we go out and do a hearing out. We did one up in Rochester. We did one out in Toledo. We did one out in San Diego. And we look at different sectors of the American economy and what is happening. And we bring the best experts in the country in, and they tell us what is happening. Everything is up on our website, www.uscc.gov. That website, everything we do is up there. We're very transparent about what we're up to. We're not hiding it. So you can be the judge, as we say. Go look at what people are telling us. We get intelligence briefings. We go to China once a year. We go to other countries. We've been to Singapore, Vietnam, Japan, Korea, and understand what's happening out there, and it's not very good for this country.
Pat, 11-1 was the one report.
The first report was 11-1.
And the others have been unanimous.
There are 2 11-1, 6 unanimous.
I don't think there's anywhere in the government of the United States where Democrats and Republicans agree on more than our problems with our trade relationships with the Chinese.
Yeah, I mean, see, when you go out and get the facts, and you just look at these facts, and you see what is happening, and you see how this isn't happenstance. The Chinese have a strategy, and they're manipulating their currency. They're providing subsidies to their state-owned enterprises. I just want to give you one more thing that's going to happen next. This is the next wave that's happening.
Let us take a break right now, because we're running on our break, and when you come back, I want you to tell us what's happening. When you return on You Be the Judge.
I'm going to take